Oh, that might be a good one. So today me and Landon are doing something completely different than we've ever done before on this channel. We're on a small lake that's not too far from home right here. It's about 150 acres and this lake is absolutely loaded with bluegill. Now there's not a lot of big trophy bluegill in here. Average fish is 7 to 8 inches long. Every now and then you'll catch one, you know, 9, 10 inches long. So that's what we're gonna target today is bluegill and shellcracker. We're gonna be fishing with some ultralight rods. We're gonna try to catch 20 or 30 of these big nice bluegills and take them home and fry them up. So I hope you guys join us. So the rod that I'm using is a 5-foot ultralight Berkeley cherry wood. I've got a Shimano Sienna reel, 500 size. I got 2-pound test line. That is a 1/64 jig head with a 1-inch slider by Charlie Brewer. Great little bait right there. Yeah, that 1/64 jig head is really important because it allows you to fish really slow in this shallow water like this. If I was to put on like a 1/16 or something like that, this might be a good one. No, just another one in borderline size. But yeah, if I was to use like a 1/16 jig head, it'd be in that moss, it'd be down on the bottom, hung up before I could have a chance to fish it.
My berry foul.
There he is. Oh, that might, oh Lord. That's a big fish right there.
Yeah.
You see it?
Mm-hmm. A shellcracker?
Yeah.
Shellcracker.
Yeah, get the net. Get the net. Heck yeah. That's a hog. That's that 10-inch fish we've been looking for.
Look at that.
Heck yeah. See how long he is. He's 10 inches. God. He's right at 10 inches, y'all. You can see he's spawning. He got his tail tore up from making them beds. So all we're doing right here, guys, is just throwing over the edge of that moss and letting our bait drop a couple feet. And that's usually when they'll hit it. But if not, I'll just reel it back up towards the top again and then let it fall again. And they'll normally, about every time they hit it on the fall. Landon's on them up here, making me look bad. And they're all keepers too.
They're all spawning. Which is pretty hard when you're using a blind bait.
I got him.
Beautiful, beautiful. And gill looks so pretty. Not the inside.
Another really nice shellcracker. He's probably about 8.5 inches. Big fillets on them dudes. So we could probably use some live bait under a float and catch probably more fish than we're catching right now. But the problem with that in this lake, there's so many small bluegill in here. If you use live bait, you'd spend more time putting bait on than you would fishing. To me, it's more fun fishing this way for bluegill. Casting for them like this, these little jigs. I think it's a lot of fun. I just seen that fish come up and hit my bait. That's pretty cool. That's a good one, I think. Golly. Yeah, it is a good one. That one's getting eaten. Real nice bluegill. Something else I didn't mention, I like to use these collarless jig heads on these tiny little plastic baits, because if you use a jig head with a collar on it on a bait this size, it basically ruins it just putting it on. So sometimes you'll get one that'll slip pretty bad after a few fish. You can just take a little bit, I mean just a touch of super glue, kind of glue the head or kind of glue the plastic to the jig head there, and it'll hold it on there for you a whole lot better. Oh, I better retie my knot. I've done caught like 10 fish on this knot.
Weird one. Doesn't look right.
Keeper.
Look at this fish.
Looks pretty big to me.
Look at it. It's got something real weird on it.
What? What do you mean?
On its fin.
What's weird about it? We'll see. You got me.
You got my leg earlier.
That might be a good one. He's pulling. I think that is a good one. Yeah, it is. Real good one. Taking drag. Biggest bluegill of the day by far. Alright guys, that's a good one right there. I'd like to have about 20 just like that. About 9 1/8, 9 1/4. So that's a good bluegill. So if you guys are new to this style of fishing and you're wanting to try some plastic jigs, there's a ton of them on the market. They all catch fish. As you can see, I've got a bunch right here in front of me. But if I had to pick a favorite out of all these, it would have to be these trout magnets right here. They catch a lot of fish, but the main reason I like them is because of how durable they are. They're just a little 1 1/4 split tail grub. You can get a bunch of different colors, or you can buy these little kits right here. Trout Magnet basically put together a kit called Panfish Magnet, and it's their favorite colors for panfish. But yeah, like I said guys, they all work. You just have to pick the one you like. I do seem to do a little better on the darker colors, but for the most part, they all catch fish. All right, so the sun's starting to set. We're getting our head back to the ramp. I don't know if you guys can see it there or not, but it is absolutely loaded with bluegill. So we got a lot of work to do when we get home, so we'll see you guys when we get there. All right guys, so we made it home. I'm gonna show you guys what I do with these panfish. I know a lot of guys like to just scale them and gut them and fry them whole, but I just prefer to go ahead and get rid of the bones and fillet them. First thing you're gonna need is an extremely sharp fillet knife. If it's not sharp enough to shave with, then you probably need to sharpen it. A dull knife, you'll just end up butchering the fish, you know. But the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna come in here behind this gill flap, and you can see there's a lot of meat up here in the head. If you just cut straight in it right here, you're gonna miss a lot of meat right here behind the head. So I'm gonna get behind that gill flap. I'm gonna make a cut back towards the head, all the way down to the belly, just like that. Then I'm gonna get on top of the backbone here and just work all the way down that backbone. And when you get to about the end of the dorsal fin there, you can take your knife and go all the way through, staying on top of the backbone, and then just come out to the end of the tail. And now we're just going to take our knife and start working up on top of the rib cage. Now on a bigger panfish, there's actually some rib meat right in here that you want to get on the bigger ones. On these medium-sized bluegill right here, it's just not enough to worry about in my opinion. But keep in mind, on a big bluegill, you know, there will be some rib meat right here on the real big ones. And there might be enough rib meat on this one to, yeah, see there was some rib, even on this one there was some rib meat. There's some pin bones in there. I'll show you guys how to get those out in a minute. One more time on the other side. Angle back towards the head. Get on top of that spine. And I just have to take my time because, like I said, I'm not a professional at this. I just don't do it enough. Get towards the end of the dorsal fin, go all the way through. And you can leave it attached right there just to make it easier to cut the skin off, but I usually just go ahead and cut all the way through. And then same thing, we're just gonna start working that meat off the... All right, there's our 2 fillets. We're gonna go ahead and cut the skin off. This is where a sharp knife is really important, so you don't mess up and cut through the skin. You don't want to have to put much pressure on it. But when you do it that way, there's some really small pin bones right here, almost unnoticeable, they're so small, but you want to go ahead and remove those, or I do. But they're right there in the center of the fish. You might be able to hear them. Really small pin bones. So all we're going to do is come in here and make a cut. They stop about right there. Just like that. And now we got a boneless fillet. That's all there is to it. Pretty good sized piece of meat. And cut the bones out of the other one right here. But they just run, there's almost a line right there where they are, and they stop right there. So you just come in there, make a really small cut, and get rid of those pin bones. And that's all there is to it, guys. Takes a little bit of practice, but really easy to fillet. One of the best eating fish that swims, in my opinion. So we're gonna get some hot grease going, and I'll show you guys what I do to fry them up. Okay, so what I've done, I have dried my fillets. I like a thin batter when I'm cooking bluegill or crappie. So I dry the fillets off with a paper towel, get most of the moisture off. And I'm gonna put them all in a 1-gallon bag here. The only thing I'm gonna do to them, guys, I'm gonna put some Creole seasoning on them, and I'm not gonna put much because bluegill is so mild of a fish that you don't need much seasoning at all. They're good just the way they are. I'm just gonna put a little seasoning on there and mix it up. Like I said, not a whole lot. Mix that up really good. All right, so we got our fish seasoned lightly with Creole seasoning, and I'm gonna take some Crispy Southern pre-made breading here. That's my favorite brand. And I'm just gonna dump the whole thing in there with the fish. Give that a little shake. And like I mentioned, guys, by drying off these fillets, it's gonna make a really, really thin coating on the fish. Now that's what I'm looking for, but if you like a little thicker breading, you could dip them in a little egg or just leave a little moisture on them and you'll get a thicker breading. All right, we got our canola oil up to 350 degrees. And we're gonna drop in about 10 pieces or so. We got about a ½ gallon of canola oil there. But you can see how perfect they're coated there. And one thing about cooking little fillets like this is that you only need about 2.5 minutes. All right, that's all we're gonna put in for now. We'll give that about 2.5 minutes and see what it looks like. All right, so it's been a little over 2 minutes and first round is done. We'll let that grease heat back up for just a second and we'll drop in some more, but man, they look good. Okay, since Landon caught most of the fish, we're gonna let him try them first. Go ahead and get you a piece there, Landon. Now be honest now, if it's not good, tell us. Let us know how good it is. On a scale of 1 to 10, let us know.
All right. That's pretty dang good.
Well, yeah, it's good.
9.
A 9? What am I gonna have to do to get a 10? If you've never tried bluegill before, go out, catch you some bluegill. The rivers and lakes are full of them. They're some of the best fish that swims, in my opinion. We had a great afternoon out on the river. We're gonna go in here and enjoy our meal, but I wanna thank you guys for watching. God bless you all, and we'll see you in the next one. Perfect for 2 people. We got the little front deck up there, and then I got this bench back here that I stand on. I just spilled everything in my tackle box. kind of upset about that right now.